Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Middle-Aged Moms Making Music. You have been watching and listening to Ben Red Rock Drum and Dance Ensemble after a performance that they had at the Long Beach Aquarium back for Black History Month. So this episode, we're going to be featuring clips from an interview that we had with one of the performers, John Beatty. We're going to hear him talk about. Okay, so yeah, I am like looking at my notes. But anyway, so we're going to hear him talk about his life as a musician and how it is that after 50 years, he still loves to play. He still has this great passion for playing. And we'll get a glimpse into a particular vulnerability that many of us musicians have, kind of being insecure and stuff. But before we get into that, let's listen in as John B. talks about when he used to kick it with Patrice Rushen, one of my favorite artists of all time. See ya.
She used to play with us. She was basically helping us out.
Okay.
We used to rehearse in my mother's garage, and the funny part about it was like when Patrice would come to the rehearsal or something, all the kids would run out. They want to help her carry her piano. Carry her piano. She was still in school then. She was doing something at SC, but because she came out of Locke High School, and a lot of good students came out of there under the tutelage of Reggie Andrews. Reggie Andrews was kind of like, there was an Indugu Chance that came out of there, I think Kamasi Washington came there. I think he had it. Kamasi Washington is, his dad is one of the guys, Kenny Washington, one of the guys that was around playing around at that time. I think he still works with the school district. But Indugu and Patrice we weren't like musical. We were just a group of cats that loved each other and we loved to try to play. We didn't know what we was doing.
So I wanted to kind of get into then, what was your training musically?
Well, my mom had me take piano lessons when I was 6. So between 6 and 16, I just took classical music. Mm-hmm. That was my basic training. And then, of course, I took some voice lessons in school. But that was it. I didn't know what I was doing either.
Yeah, that was kind of like that was kind of like the conversation that I kind of like wanted to have. It's like, because when I started in music, I didn't know what I was doing. I was never trained. Mm-hmm. I was never trained. I just know that there was something about music that kind of like just welled up in me and just made me want to do it.
A lot of like the stuff that he's saying about how he said we didn't know what we were doing. I thought, like when I was first starting out in the music scene here in LA, even though I played classical, classical music doesn't relate to anything in hip hop as far as I knew back then.
Right.
Now they sample anything, but back then we were sampling old jazz records and playing R&B, which isn't classical. So my style of piano didn't really match that. So in a way, I was coming in not really knowing what I was doing. So I don't know how you felt when you first went into the studio for a session. If you felt pretty confident or if it was like, wow, this is new and how's it going to turn out?
Well, for me, the stakes weren't that big to me. Because I was things just kind of started snowballing. It was just like, oh, I'm drunk at a party and I sing, and then someone says, hey, why don't you come and do some demos with me? And I'm just like, oh, sure. That sounds like fun. And so, and then from that situation, it just happened by coincidence that was the same guy who was in Timex Social Club and who knew Jay King, who I had already known from when I was a teenager. And that it was just serendipity that all of those pieces just kind of fell into place. So it wasn't like I had to audition. So I wasn't like really nervous or like, do I have what it takes? It wasn't until later when I started trying to branch out from the group that I started feeling like I'm just faking it here. I'm just I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like learning as I go, and like I remember one time I auditioned for a background singer for Stevie Wonder, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? But I went through it because I did it. There were a lot of different things that I did because I didn't feel like I was prepared because I didn't have the training. That wasn't my upbringing. Music was not a part of my upbringing. And I'm a very pragmatic person, so I'm not gonna run off. I'm not gonna run away from home to pursue music because, you know, it just didn't make sense to me back in those days. It was like, you know, in high school, you do your best, be the best student you can be, go to college, study something practical, like be an engineer or study math. And that's what I did.
We were just, you know, none of us had any training or anything like that. But we were fortunate. We had good people. There was he's gone on now. His name was Carl Randall, saxophone player, excellent saxophone player. Trumpet player named, we used to call him Elmer Fudd. His name is Leslie Creighton. Yeah. Oh, okay. Leslie, you know, so there were good guys around us, and we were just like, you know, but it was, the core was like a guy named Ellis Jones, Randy Piggy, well, I would say Kim Warfield, bass player Kim Warfield, but then we ended up using James Bedford. James Bedford was kind of like, became the bass player. So we had Harold Land was doing things, and Harold Land is his son, Harold Land Jr., keyboard player. And these were like trained cats, they knew what was up. You know? So we were, you know, I was going to Cal State LA at the time. And I remember meeting a young guy, his name is Glenn Mitchell, Chili, we call it, Chili, drummer, you know, now. So he became our, you know, to talk to Chili, and actually Harold and Chili, we did something like this, like a year ago. Just all, you know, just old cats hanging out doing stuff, you know. But
old cats and my daddy.
huh?
Old cats and my daddy.
But you know, I was the kind of guy that you know, I'm the one that couldn't play. I never played. I still struggle. You know, I love it. You know, but I'm so amazed. Like my youngsters now. Did you see? Those are my kids, man.
You were just as good to me.
Huh?
You sounded just as good to me.
You know, but you know, I'm excited about it. But what happens is, I've been like very fortunate. When I was coming through, I met good people. Someone that I got introduced to her as a kid, and you know, she could have taken anybody she wanted. You know, but someone else, she let me be the guy. You know. And so I traveled with her. I went on the road with her, but not with Patrice. But I was on the road. I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. You know, they had me all up in San Francisco. I don't know what I was supposed to be doing. You know, with the song. You know,
On the road with Eartha Kitt.
Yeah, that was in those days. Yeah, that happened.
That was huge.
But what it was, I was at Cal State LA, and these guys were playing this African stuff. You know, it's like, wow. You know. It was amazing, you know. So I met this dancer. You talking about Tabula? I met the sister, you know. She wanted to dance. Oh yeah, what do you do? You know. I said, well, you know, play with conga drums, you know. So then she said, well, I need you to come down this thing.
So when you first met Jay King, were they auditioning people, or did they just like you and say, hey, come be part of the group? Or Was there like
That was basically it. They had already, I had already been doing demos, so he heard what my voice sounded like, and he felt like, oh, this group could really benefit from having uh,
a female?
a female part. Yeah, so they were just like, oh, Val, you should be in the group, and I was just like, oh, sure. But it was in the beginning, so it wasn't anything. I didn't know what to expect. It was just something that I thought would be fun to do.
So what do you think it is about you as a person that made them decide they wanted you to be part of the group? Because I'm sure if you were anyone else, they wouldn't have invited them into the group.
This is a group full of dudes.
Oh,
It's a group.
There's a million other girls that sing too.
Yeah, but I was convenient. Didn't have to go out and look for another girl. I was cute. I could hold a note, and I was chill. So
Okay,
it's
so
like
the chill part is probably the part that made you stand out, because there's probably a million other girls who can sing that are cute that aren't chill.
and that's basically what John was saying when he used to play with Eartha Kitt.
Right.
He wasn't the best player, but he was always on time.
Yep.
And he was professional, and he knew what he was doing. You know, he could whatever they needed from him,
Mm-hmm.
he could deliver.
Right.
And that's kind of how I felt as an artist. Back then I felt like I can follow direction, I'm going to be on time, I'm going to work hard to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't do it, I'm going to work until I can. I'm going to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know what y'all, I don't quite get. Say, we a drummer, ain't you? It's a challenge, like, you know. So I go down there with her, and when I got down there, you know, wasn't really nobody there, so play what you want. I was playing, and, you know, and she kind of worked something out, you know. And then one day I was a little late, and when I came down, I was parking my car, and I was parking the car. I could hear this. What's going on in there? When I went in, these cats was like playing this music, you know, and she told them stop. Like, I got like, okay, this is John Beatty, and he gonna show y'all what to play. And I'm like, oh, really? I don't know what they was playing. But I told them, y'all do that what y'all doing. My thought was, I'm trying to get in, play something with them, because they felt good. And so, you know, we're doing that, you know. I guess, you know, one thing, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to be there. If I say I'm going to come, and I ain't going to be loaded. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be serious, and I'm going to try to do whatever you need me to do. I'm easy to work with. So I think she liked that, so a lot of times she would choose me over the bad dude. Them dudes was playing to play, you know. Mm. And so she would choose me, and I guess it was because of the attitude.
And speaking about being a piano player, I've always been insecure about being a keyboard player because I know I'm not the greatest. Mm-hmm. But Nyoka's dad has this thing telling everyone that I'm this great keyboard player. Mm-hmm. And it makes me feel good that he thinks so, but but you know, it's just nice to have people who believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself.
Girl, I know. Like I know my the guy who produced my solo project. Mm-hmm. He always says, "Val, you're my favorite singer," and I'm just like, dude. Come on now. He's like, no. He's like, you know, Whitney, Sade, you know, you're my favorite singer. Forget them. And I'm just like.
But it's true. I told you when I was in college and I was in my voice class and the lady kept telling me, why do you keep picking man songs? Because that's just what I liked.
Yeah,
I would pick like Luther Vandross or Freddie Jackson or something. So I said, all right, I'll pick a girl song. And the only girl that I wanted to sing was you at the time. So I picked, I never remember the name of that song. Let me tell you how I really feel.
Oh, yeah. If you tell.
If you want my love,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Started doing these things out in the Watts area. And she was in the late 60s, she started it. And somehow or another, I got introduced to her in the early 70s, you know. Some of the old Gent magazines and stuff, you know, when they were doing Earth and all that, they got pictures of us doing stuff there. But
As you were working with Eartha and starting your family, was it hard to kind of keep the music thing going? How did you work
you
that
know,
out?
that was probably some of the most difficult times of my, you know, I was about to graduate from Cal State LA. We had a couple of more months or something like that. And we got this offer. We were supposed to go on this tour to Japan, you know, the band, you know. And I'm married. And I was reminded daily, you're married. You know, and by that time these babies came, you know, it was like, what?
It sounded like you hadn't been married until that time.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like,
Like, what would you have done? I don't know. If I had to choose between a scholarship to USC and going to Japan on tour, that would be hard for me. But I guess he had a family already, so
Yeah. That's, oof. Yeah. I haven't had to make any decisions like that concerning music versus the family. So I don't know. Ooh. I mean, I've left before I had a family. I left jobs to go on tour.
mhm.
Like I'd be in between music stuff. I'd get a job, and then something music related would pop up where I had to go where we were traveling. Okay, this is temporary. I'm gone. Got to go.
I remember clearly when this one was born. This was born she was born July 7th, 1970. One of our first so-called performances, you know, was July 4th. We were performing at somebody's house or some party or something, you know, we've been doing all this stuff. The day she was born, whatever that little money I had, I gave it to Ellis or one of the group members. Because once I saw her, she had 5 fingers, 5 toes. She didn't have that thing in the middle, I thought she was there. But she had 5 fingers, 5 toes. She was helping. I gave, you know, he got the money, and he went down and bought me some Angel Perez. This guy was selling these Angel Perez cones. For a while, they was like this. You know, I had these wonderful kids playing. I had them, you know, they were mine. You know? But I got it. The point I'm trying to make is that it was a struggle because it was always like, if you're going to play music, really, it's 110% of your everything. You got to give it all to make it work.
Yeah.
I couldn't give 110%. That day we got that offer to go, 2 more months to graduate. My thing was, hey man, you know what, y'all? And everybody looking at me like, I messed the group up. And yeah, they probably didn't want to go there. I don't know whatever happened with that. We didn't do that thing. But I'd always felt that pressure to provide for the family, you know. And then the thing was, you want to make music, you want to make money, you know, make a living. Some people can make music, be their living. They can be great players. You can do that. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. And that's why I keep telling these youngsters, it ain't easy. You gotta have plan B. Because you'll always be able to do this, or you might not get that.
If you look at it, you know, from in the long run, if it's about the music and it's not just about being famous, then you want to take advantage of some stability so that you can pursue your avocation, you know, freely without it being a struggle.
Yeah. And you want to be able to do it at peace.
Right.
Even though I know struggling sometimes can be inspirational, but
I don't want to struggle that hard.
I've been fortunate, the school was very important. I figured I'd get to school, I'd get that school thing. As soon as Cal State LA finished, some spiritual things happened, and they got me over to SC. I was like, really? I don't have to go to work. I can go to school and still do the same thing. Oh, yes, I'll do that, So whatever the paper was, and I'll still be able to play, So that was the plan, do that. And as long as I was bringing some money in mind.
What bothers me, as long as you're bringing money in, but who had the kids? Who brought the kids? Who had
Yeah, I still got pain. I still got pain. Pain and suffering.
That kind of rubs you the wrong way. Like I'm just there.
Oh, no, that was hell. I wouldn't. If you were just there, I wouldn't. It had to be more than
You
that.
wouldn't have been there.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you were the mainstay. You were what kept me focused. Like, you kept me like angry. Like, cause I really would go OFF. I was ready to go. Let's do this. And she's like, it ain't happening like that, brother. I mean, you said brother. It ain't going down like that, brother.
Now is brother and dude. Okay, but way back then, no.
Yes, it was. You were hard on me, like, But I tell you, she was my biggest fan. I never stopped playing. When they were like youngsters, I mean, I used to take them to the studio with me at night. We would be recording, they're on. You remember Lester Martin? Some of those songs that y'all got recorded. They used to go to the studio at night, and so it was always music never stopped. I was always doing music, but it was kind of like on the side. My advice to a person: if you feel something, you need to so don't deny yourself. Do that thing, In terms of the drumming thing, that's a healing thing. I mean, I'm 75, I'm 76 years old. So my advice to them would be, do it. It's never too late to do what it is that you think you want to do. And you won't be satisfied until you at least try to do it. But also understand why you're doing it. I mean, what's your intention? We always talk about your intention. I mean, if you intend, I've got guys now, I just go to music. I was just talking to a guy the other day. He just wrote a new song. I like the song. She doesn't like the way he sings, but I love the song. And he said part of it, there was a phrase in that song. He said it reminded him of She and I. So that's good. But my buddy, he wrote his song had some nice little phrases in it too. And we were talking about that yesterday, the day before, about that whole thing. But he's still talking. His intention is still to make this money, get the CD out there and trying to make it. I'm saying, if that's his intention, fine. Because he's been out there before. He's done with Wayne Short, and they played. He came out from Mississippi. They all played. Some of the cats, they're all good musicians. He's still good musician, but he likes to sing. That's what I'm saying. For somebody that hasn't followed your dream, do it. Is this going to be follow your dreams, do that, but know why you do it, so you don't disappoint yourself. I never thought I was going to make no money. Right. I never thought I was going to,
so there's no disappointment.
More money now. I guess, when they give me money, I mean, we don't. It's come to a point now where just our time, our travel time. I mean, we can't do that without it. So every time we do something, it's this thing here, it's all contracts. And I don't like to get in the business at all. But I feel so good. I get this check. I'm like, oh, so it's like I'm getting paid for doing something I want to do. But I'm not making it be what's gonna pay my rent, because that's just too much. You got to make a living. And then you got to make music. And if you can make music and make a living with that, that's great. But you got to be sure that you're making your living, or you won't be able to make your music. You ain't got a place to play. You ain't got translation to get you to the gig.
Right.
Your instruments are all like set. You can't keep it on, keep it right. You know what I'm saying? You can't come up. So I'm saying that to those persons. Follow it and see where it takes you. Because you don't know. You just hear it.
Rhythm calling me, calling out my name. I turn and walk away back like a boomerang. It's driving me insane, but to the battle break. But I can't stop, I can't wait till riding with the groove. Body won't rock on lock until you hold the key. Let me go, catch this feeling, get all caught up in your rhythm.